welcome to No Broken Legs. I am your host, Evan Belfiore, and we are back to continue talking about AFC divisions. This podcast, we are going to the Dirty South, and helping us sort everything out is Jimmy Champ. Jimmy, how are you tonight?
I'm good, man. Nothing like the Dirty South, some chicken and beer and three pretty bad teams.
Yes, three pretty bad teams and one team that seems to have ascended last year. That was my best bet of the year, was the Jaguars plus 600. You will not be getting the Jaguars to win the division at plus 600 this year, though, sadly.
No, you will not.
After a really bad first half in the playoffs, Trevor Lawrence played really well, and that Jacksonville team played really well, and they added some pieces, and it's reflected in the lines. To win the Super Bowl, they are plus 3,000. To win the conference, they are plus 1,400. To win the division, they are minus 155. Make the playoffs, yes, minus 195. No, plus 175. Their over-under is 9.5. You can get the over at minus 144. You can get the under at plus 118. Jimmy, everything we just talked about, the Buffalo Bills and the AFC East, I feel like we should be saying about the Jacksonville Jaguars. Do you agree with me that this team's going to be really good this year?
Yeah, I think it's even more bullish. Just like one of our, favorite Macho Man memes and gifs. This is the cream of the crop in the division. I think they go 6-0. I think that's 6 wins. So I don't know how the hell they don't get more than 10. It's an easy bet, and I think we're gonna win so much money on Jacksonville this year. I feel like I may even make the Super Bowl bet, because if they just continue to ascend and won a couple close games, I wouldn't be shocked. Personally, just because of what he was out for, I love the addition of Calvin Ridley. He has looked great so far, and I don't know if you noticed that he's on their roster. I actually love the Dearness Johnson signing by Jacksonville. I think you compare Dearness Johnson with Travis Etienne, and that could be a really good backfield.
Yeah, I agree with that.
They're so young and talented on defense. Mike Caldwell's the perfect DC for them. I think they're minimum 2 playoff win team this year. If they ended up winning the AFC, I wouldn't be surprised, because I think Trevor Lawrence, I think the games in the division, much like with Peyton Manning back in the day, I think beating up on these 3 bad teams, they're going to learn so much about their offense, themselves, and their confidence, that they're going to be ready for big games. And I think they're going to surprise. They play a lot of marquee teams, and I think they're going to get some surprise victories this year.
Yeah, this division plays the AFC North and the NFC South. That NFC South and AFC South is just...
Yep.
That's 10 games in their schedule. And depending on the odds, I think they're going 8-2 in those games. That's not out of the question. And if they go 7-3, okay, then I just need a couple more wins and they're there and they're going to get them. This team's going to be good. They're going to dominate the division, like you said. Doug Peterson just continues to show that he's a really good coach and continues to show the pedigree of the Andy Reid coaching tree.
Yep.
Calvin Ridley is just a huge addition for them. He provides he's such a weapon.
And there's other good wide receivers on the team too.
Yeah, you're adding a guy that adds another dimension to your offense. Etienne missed most of last year. And like you said, even if something happens and you need a couple of games from Dearness Johnson where you give him 20 carries, he can do that.
Yep.
When I saw this line, this was the line I thought I would see for Buffalo for the division.
Yeah.
Minus 155. Yeah. And even for this division, minus 155 for Jacksonville feels like stealing too. Because I don't think anybody in this division's all that good.
No.
So let's go through the parade of teams we don't think are very good. Let's start with, as always, they're always the second best team in this division, apparently, because the other teams are always just such fucking failures. But the Tennessee Titans, they just let's go with Ryan Tannehill again. I don't understand it. And the bettors don't understand it either. To win the Super Bowl, they're plus 10,000. To win the conference, they're plus 6,000. Plus 350 to win the division. To make the playoffs, no, minus 250. Yes, plus 250. Over under 7.5. Minus 118 on the over. Plus 110 on the under. Mike Vrabel's a good coach, Jimmy. Is he good enough to coach them to 8-9 wins?
No, I don't think DeAndre Hopkins makes that big of a difference. I think when they play good teams, they will lose. I'm taking there's a couple places I can get plus 115 on the under on 7.5. I'm taking that. There's no trust to me left in Ryan Tannehill, but you're going to play Tannehill because you saw last year that your backup wasn't any better. And if I was Ryan Tannehill, the thing that would terrify me the most is ex-Brown Chris Hubbard is your starting right tackle.
Oh, that
ain't good. that ain't good. That's bad.
That is definitely one way to put it. I'm of two minds on this. This is not an over-under I want to touch because I think they're a 7 or 8 win team, depending on how things shake out. And it all comes down to, are they good enough to go 3-1 in the NFC South? Maybe. Like, do they get those games when Derrick Henry's feeling like a beast? Or we get a DeAndre Hopkins nuke game where it's just like, oh, Tannehill can just throw it up and DeAndre Hopkins is just going to catch it. Like, Tannehill cannot fuck this up. Like, he literally can't.
Oh, contraire, mon frere.
I do think.
I will enter into evidence A.J. Brown's season last year as evidence.
Man, now you're really making me think it's a 6-7 win team. Could they go 0-4 against the AFC North?
Yes.
Wow. I just feel like Vrabel's got to get a game in the AFC North.
I don't know, man. I mean, when I was doing our projections for the AFC North, who we did first, I had a win for all 4 teams against them. Like, Pittsburgh would be the only one. Maybe you can get one win there. But I don't think you
I guess they have fallen off that much. I have a lot of respect for Vrabel as a coach. But now I'm talking myself out of it. I'm talking myself into the under. They do play the NFC South, and that could be 3-4 wins.
It should be.
I think Indianapolis and Houston's probably 3-4 wins. Now we're already talking 6 to 8 wins. We haven't even played the other third of the schedule.
Now you're back at it. You're back there now.
I don't know. If you're, I guess for our listeners, if you have a feeling one way or the other on the Tennessee Titans, I guess go ahead and go with that gut feeling because I don't think they're making the playoffs. I think that plus 250, as spicy as that looks, is just not really possible.
Yeah, I can't do it.
And plus 350 to win the division, it's just not going to happen. They're telling you we don't think they can win the division.
Keep your legs unbroken and put that money somewhere else.
Exactly. The next 2 teams that we're going to talk about have rookie quarterbacks that they just took in the draft. The Indianapolis Colts are going to start Anthony Richardson in week 1. Gardner Minshew is going to sit on the bench where he belongs in this case, in my opinion. The Colts are unlikely to be good this year. They're plus 15,000 to win the Super Bowl, plus 8,000 for the conference, plus 700 to win the division, plus 400, yes, make the playoffs, minus 425, no. Their over-under sits at 6.5, minus 115 on the over. Under is even money. Jimmy, do the Indianapolis Colts and Anthony Richardson win 7 games? Can they get there?
No. No. I you know what? It's weird because I'm glad to see Shane Steichen get the head coach job. I like Jim Bob Cooter and Gus Bradley as his coordinators. You've got two good coaches with you. I just don't like the talent. I think their best player on their entire team is their left guard. And I don't think that's good for success. I think they're the worst team in one of the worst divisions in football. I think they're going to lose a lot of close games because Anthony Richardson is going to make mistakes. I think alienating one of the three best running backs in the NFL, who you've lived and died with since you've drafted him, was a humongous mistake. And I think this is going to be a horrible season for the Indianapolis Colts.
I agree. I don't know if I think they'll be worse than Houston, but I do know they're going to be a bad football team, and they're going to struggle to win 6. So I definitely like the under here. Young players make mistakes. Young coaches make mistakes. This team's young across the board. I don't see a lot here that says we're going to be good this year. Maybe they learn some things, they show some things, and you look at next year being a season where they look to hit 500 and then make the playoffs the year after. But that's their timeline. This is the year that they'll be bad. One of the other teams that took a quarterback in the first round are the Houston Texans. They took our boy from Ohio State, C.J. Stroud, who definitely struggled in his preseason debut. That is why you see that to win the Super Bowl, they're plus 20,000, plus 10,000 for the conference, plus 1,000 for the division. Yes, plus 650 to make the playoffs. No, minus 700. Nobody thinks this team's going to be any good. Their over-under is 6.5, plus 120 on the over, minus 140 on the under. Jimmy, every year I feel like we have the same conversation about the Houston Texans where I say they stink and you say they're going to be better this year, and I think I've been right every single year. So are you sticking with it? Are we going to be consistent again?
Oh yeah, I'm going to be consistent because while you may be right overall, there are times during the season in which the Texans show out, and I believe the roster is young. I think they've got a lot of talent on both sides of the ball. This is one team where I wish they had a different coaching staff.
Yeah.
I'm glad DeMeco Ryans is getting his chance, but I wish he could have brought in a little bit more seasoned guys to run his units. But I think the team's going to be good. I think they're going to play strong. I think they're going to beat the Colts twice. I think they're going to beat the Titans. They're going to beat the Titans at least once. I think they're going to stack some wins against the NFC South. So I got them on the over. Easy for me. It's an easy over for me.
As it always is for me, this is an easy under. Rookie quarterbacks make rookie mistakes. He did not look good. I'm not going to judge everything on that, but it's just rookie quarterbacks make rookie mistakes. The roster is not really that good. And again, this is a team that's on a timeline where we talk about them trying to get to 500 next year, make the playoffs the year after. This is the year they're supposed to be bad. Bet on them to be bad. That's what I'm going to do.
Damian Pierce and Robert Woods disagree with you, sir.
This is definitely the worst division in the AFC conference, right?
Yes.
Is it worse than the NFC South? I don't think so.
No, because the NFC
Jacksonville's
South doesn't
good.
have that. Yeah, the NFC South doesn't have that team like Jacksonville. And even even if you look at Tennessee could be good, right?
It wouldn't be shocking if they get to 9 wins.
Tannehill actually plays better than we think he ever can.
Well, regular season games, man. He's fine in those. Or at least he's in those.
And you've got Houston and Indy, whether we agree with the vision, they at least think they've got their quarterback have a vision. The NFC South is just a mess.
And we'll talk about the NFC North as well, which is another division that could be a mess.
The Bears.
Yeah, just Houston as an organization reminds me a lot of the Cleveland Browns. And just from the ownership into the front office down to the coaching staff and through the players on the field, there just doesn't seem to be a lot of cohesion and competence. And they've had guys in there that have been relatively competent that seem to do okay, and then they go somewhere else and maybe they do a little better. We'll see what happens with because Brian Billick was down there forever, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was part of it, and that's why I think I hope their front office chooses to stick with DeMeco Ryans I mean, he was part of the Schaub Foster group, and he's cut his teeth under Belichick, like part of that tree. Like I think D'Amico Ryans could bring some stability back to an organization that kind of boomed for like 5 years and is just burnt out since.
Yeah, this probably not going to watch a lot of non-Jacksonville AFC South games. It just seems like Indianapolis and Houston are going to be teams that we just blow past in weeks 13 on.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's just, do you think either one of these rookie quarterbacks has a chance to really make a mark? Maybe not this year, but overall, who do you think has a better chance of succeeding?
I think C.J. Stroud's going to be a bona fide superstar in the NFL.
Wow.
Like if you put it, like I believe Houston has an okay offensive line, and they have a little bit of talent at wide receiver. I think if you're able to really put some talent around him, I think they do have some talent now. I think when CJ picks up that speed, right? You're already playing at Big Ten SEC speed. When he's able to move into that NFL speed, I think CJ Stroud is going to be fabulous in the NFL.
I don't have a lot of hope for either of these two guys, to be honest.
Wow, damn, Ev.
And that just in terms of living up to a top 5 draft pick. And that's a high bar. And to achieve regular playoff success in the AFC, you're going to have to be better than Trevor Lawrence and Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jackson and Joe Burrow.
But yeah, I agree.
That is a murderer's row that you have to be better than, and the chances are it's probably not going to happen.
Yes.
That's probably enough time on the AFC South. We'll wrap up the AFC looking at the West Division in our next pod. Until then, Jimmy, thanks for joining me to talk AFC South.
No place I'd rather be, brother.
And I want to thank all of you for listening. Our podcasts on the AFC North and AFC East, links to those are in the description below. For Jimmy Champ, I am Evan Belfiore. Thank you for listening to No Broken Legs.